Good evening there, guys. I think it's January 19th or something like that. It's a nice brisk 20 below evening right now. We're getting ready to put the White Eagle out here. We finished up all the work on it. Mostly did a lot of stuff with just some general maintenance, some exhaust, shocks, brake lines, put a fuel return line on it, and a couple other random just overall maintenance stuff. Changed tires, put a fresh set of snow tires on it too in the front, like we usually do, and then put the front ones in the back, and that kind of thing. So it's ready for the rest of the winter anyway. So with that being said, it's time to move my tan Eagle in the main stall and work on this thing. So this car's been parked since probably about 2009, something like that. I bought it from a kid who's probably 18, got it from his grandpa. So he did put new tires on it, drove it a little bit in high school, but wasn't getting as many chicks as he'd like to hope for. So he got a straight pickup instead and sold me this thing. So, which was a good deal for both of us. So, but anyway, we're gonna go through everything it takes to get this Eagle that's been parked for a long time as a nice, fully usable daily driver you can drive across America if you want to. Something where you can hop in it, use it, enjoy it, not have it worry about braking on you, everything like that. So, which that will be entailing everything from ball joints to suspension pieces, putting a heater core in it, in the engine bay, and kind of going through all of the vacuum systems as well. And I may delete some of that depending how bad it is. I know there was some tuning done with the carburetor at one point, which it does not run the best because of that. This video showing everybody that if you have a Eagle parked for a long time, how to get it back on the road, make it reliable, make it something you can enjoy day after day instead of have something you drive somewhere and it breaks down, you know, because that's not ever any fun for anybody. So we'll be going through all that on this car, and also just trying to get our cars ready to make a daily driver out of, because we do a lot of things to our Eagles and our other AMCs, make them a fully reliable car we drive to work every single day, in summer, in the winter, in the snow, in the sleet, and whatever there might be outside that day, in 40 below temperatures. I mean, right now it's 25 below outside. It'll be 35 below Monday morning. It's 30 below zero actual temperature right now in Minnesota. Fired right up. Work like it did when they were new. So anyway, besides all that, we're gonna get these cars moving around. We'll get it up on the rack a little bit. I'll show you guys a little bit of what this car is, and what we kind of got, what we're working with here. So. So anyway, this is my 1988 AMC Eagle wagon. It's a 258 automatic, and it's a rust-free car from North Dakota. Very clean ride overall. As you can see under here, it looks pretty, mostly left alone. There's a couple little things worked on, but nothing too much. And pretty clean engine bay, lots of North Dakota dust everywhere yet, so we'll be cleaning a lot of that up too. It's got some options. It's got add-on cruise, AC. And that's mostly the main option it has, honestly. As everybody knows, the 88 cars in general from AMC are kind of the parts left over in the boxes. So there's some weird stuff on it. Like this fancy limited steering wheel in here with regular seats. But very clean, nice car. I got to clean up the interior yet, obviously, but we got some really nice seats in here. And it's got 125,000 on it currently. Real nice, clean car, though. I taped that over because it had a brand new door handle put in it. But as you can tell, it's a very, very clean Eagle. This is the door bottoms right here. We'll put it up in the rack here in a few minutes. I'll show you how clean this car really is, but it's a very, very nice example, rust-free wise, of an AMC Eagle, actually. So, but anyway, I'll put it up in the rack here in a few minutes. Take a look underneath, see what we have to order, and we have to get it back on the road again. I already got tires and that kind of stuff yet, but I gotta see what we need for brakes, how the shocks look, how the brake hoses look, how the lines in general look, which shouldn't be too bad. Maybe seals and anything, like the transfer case or the rear axles. I'll put new fluids in all of those as well, along with lots of other things too. Just general small stuff underneath might need to be taken care of depending on what there might be down there. Also, guys, overall it looks pretty good underneath. I didn't actually look at the car too much when I got it. I mean, I did, but like not on a hoist, obviously. But I mean, there's some orange spots, but it's pretty clean overall. So the back right here and stuff, as you guys can tell, we got nice, pretty decently not orange underneath in a lot of cases. There's some orange kind of on the bare metal areas and stuff, but otherwise not too bad. We're doing an exhaust. As you can see, the muffler's got a little Bluetooth action going on right here. But the rocker wise and stuff looks really nice up in these areas. Like this, nice and solid all the way across, front to back. Someone did put a hoist up on the rocker here like a dumbass at one point. But otherwise, do need a selector shaft steel though for the tranny. she's leaking pretty good, but it's got some lubrication under here because of it, so that's fine. I do see the add-on cruise doesn't work anymore because, well, that's sensor for it and the wires are kind of missing, so we'll work on either putting a cruise setup in one of the other Eagles or see what's going on with that. Back here looks pretty good, besides obviously new shocks and new brake lines and everything else. I'll get rid of the e-brake stuff because I don't use that up here in Minnesota, and it doesn't work usually after one season anyway because of the salt in the winter. So obviously new brake hoses, the lines look fine because it's a pretty rust-free car. Probably new wheel cylinders, all new stuff in here most likely. Let's pull those apart. Shocks are gonna leave with some air shocks in here. I do see the shield looks pretty nice yet. We probably will remove it anyway though because the mud gets caught behind it, like it is right here. And rust the gas tanks out very, very commonly on the later cars. So, and I see there is a new hose put up here. Looks like the kid that had it before me put a hose up here, or somebody did off there for the, looks like the fuel return hose anyway. So I'll have to check that out, see what's going on with that. The gasket does work, which is a good thing, so that's fine that way. And working our way up, as you can see the passenger side rocker looks very nice as well across the whole thing. Very, very nice North Dakota car, so I'm happy about that. Definitely a lot nicer than the blue one I drive every day right now, I'll say that. But anyway, pretty original underneath. Obviously still got the cat on it and stuff, everything up there. And pretty nice underneath this Eagle so far. Going up here, looks like we got some plumber's tape holding that together, so we'll have to do some new clamping on that. Looks like got some holes right there, so I'll have to put a new header pipe on it or put a piece in there anyway. This looks pretty good over here. Probably new U-joints and all this stuff will install too, just because they've been sitting around for a long time. These ones look decent over here. This one I think looks pretty good. Usually the front shaft doesn't spin that much is the biggest thing, so it's good to put joints in those when they're sitting, because obviously they don't spin that much, so they don't get locked up and kind of rusty in place. It's a little different on the 88s though, because they actually don't shut the front end off. They just shift the transfer case in and out of four-wheel drive, but the front end is fully running all the time because there's no valve over here on the 88. It just goes right out of the key, right out of the rear end or the front diff, right to the passenger side axle with no switching anywhere going on. So there's a lot more room up in here though on this car, though, we'll say that. So it looks like our CV shafts look decent so far. That one's got a newer sticker on, which is a good sign. We'll definitely do ball joints regardless anyway. Bottom ones, I'll check those, make sure they're good. We'll leave those alone for now. They are still originals yet, still got the pins in them. Top ones are replaced at one point. Obviously in the front shocks up there too. And then our inner fenders look pretty nice yet. There's a little bit going right there, but otherwise very, very nice. In this case up here, same as in the front, so looking very, very clean up in here on this side. Strut rod bushings, need to put those in. Probably put new calipers, new hoses, regardless, no matter what, on both sides, because stopping is kind of handy to do. So, and then pads, well, obviously look at the rotors, see how those look. All this looks pretty nice. Besides that, this shaft looks like it was newer as well. Looks like our sway bar end links are getting fat, so we'll put those on too on both sides. You can see it's kind of getting spread out in there. Looks like that's pretty good, and it's sat in like a wet floor garage for a little bit. Kind of got some orange on some of this stuff, but still, regardless, not bad. I mean, you guys, I got tan on the fender braces and stuff yet, so it's real clean. One thing that's really neat in this car though is it still actually has the rubber water deflectors by the underneath the engine right here. So one off the steering box there and the power steering belt, and also over the alternator yet, that actually are still attached to the motor yet, which is really cool to see. So, and these pipes still got black on them yet, so really nice. Valence I see is pretty clean. It's got some dents, but that's pretty much Eagle stuff in general. So it's had some fun at one point in its life or another. And steering stabilizers are still here too. Usually I just pull these off because usually most of the time they're bad on these cars, just from well, being used. Just riding around enough. I'm truthfully not really off-roading these that commonly. I may go through the ditch once or twice or something like that if I need to, you know, for kind of things. But more or less it's snow driving the highway at 70 in the snow, or driving back and forth to work type deal like that, or, you know, daily car stuff, you know, with maybe a little bit of emphasis on the fun sometimes, you know. But like I said, overall underneath, very, very clean setup. So we'll have to kind of go through and make a list of what we got to buy for parts, and I'll show you guys how we're putting all those on and getting that done with. So more or less exhaust and your main wear areas. The car came with new street tires, actually. New summer tires. So those will be staying on in the summertime. I'll just switch them out from my snow tires I got over here on the other side of the garage. So, yeah, pretty decent underneath actually. I'm really happy with this thing. So it'll be a much better driver and a nice setup to last me many years of daily driving and driving myself in a new daily Eagle. So we'll kind of get going. Well, as you guys saw, we got the tires and wheels off anyway, so obviously pretty short time lapse there, but I got going here. We see we got some rotors. Look like they're probably, you can DA these and still use them. I'll look at the back side since I get them off. But calipers look pretty crusty, so I'll just get a fresh set of those. And also the hoses, just because they're old. And you can see right here, you got some cracking going on right at the base right there, so not really the best thing for riding around. You can see in the back, it had new drums put on. At one point in its life, not that long ago, because it's still got kind of the Cosmo on them a little bit yet. So we'll get them pounded off and see what that looks like. We got kind of all the brakes looked at and stuff, kind of assess the damage, what we got to do. Overall, drums look really nice actually, so we're going to reuse these, no problem here. I mean, they're actually very nice inside and everything else. I marked them, that way I can put them right back where they were, because there's a little bit of a, just some rust on the axle right here. So, having it sit nice on there. The front rotors are the same way. We're going to take a DA. We'll actually just kind of sand these so they're nice and fresh, because it's got a little bit of the rust on them, but they're nice and thick yet. Not crusty or anything, so we'll reassemble those as well. I've reused the pads, these look nice. I'll get new calipers though. Dad's working on the sidewall end links currently right now, getting those off, since obviously you guys saw they are not going to hang in there for the kind of driving I do. For the drifting videos and stuff. And this all looks pretty nice and clean overall. There's flanges back here too. So then we went through and pulled a lot of dirt and debris out of the car too, so the pockets up here are actually empty now again. They were full all the way to the bottom of the A-frames. Getting that stuff done. More gravel back here too. Danny's pulling a freaking house out of the frame rail back here, so it looks like a dang good time. And then I clean out the rockers a little bit, all the dust and dirt and everything else off the back here too. Just kind of getting all the holes and ventilation free, so we get not collecting stuff we don't need. So but we got lots of color dust hanging out back here, and we're gonna pull the gas tank too. It's got a small leak in the bottom of it, and then also it's got this big shield they have on the later cars that is packed with gravel, as you can tell. So we're gonna pull that off too and get that away from the tank, as well as the more of the gravel that's kind of just flowing out of everywhere up here. So, and out of the frame rails and everything else, so we can get that so it doesn't turn into more mud and more just packed areas. You kind of collect salt and rust out everything. So as far as the brakes in the back here, we're gonna put new wheel cylinders and shoes. All the hardware looks pretty nice. Looks of things. I'm gonna cut the e-brake cables off, just get rid of them totally. Because in Minnesota here, even brand new ones last about a year, and they don't work after that again. So the old stuff. So I can get them on my way, so I don't have to worry about it. I'll put a new hose back here, possibly. Actually, this one looks pretty easy, so I might leave this hose. And the lines are all pretty good yet, so. We've kind of got our list going in the back room here on the whiteboard. It's kind of what we got going on for this car anyway. So shocks, front and rear, brakes. I'm gonna sand the front rotors, new calipers, new hoses. Back is all that stuff. Suspension, we can do strut rod bushings. They're actually shot right now. Pitman arm got a little bit of play in it, so I have our end links. Transmission, selector shaft seal, filter change, and the 4x4 does not work currently. It's a vacuum issue as far as I can see. And then engine belts, hoses, carb, tune, that kind of stuff, plugs and wires, check vacuum leaks. Interior, I need to put a radio in, do speakers, and then a heater core, because the heater core is shot currently. Clean everything, and I'm gonna paint the bottom of the car blue where all the brown is, and touch up where the tan spots need like some matchsticking, that kind of stuff too. So that's kind of general plan for this car so far anyway. So we're gonna get to work kind of changing out some of the suspension components. The pitman arm out was I disconnected these two bolts for the idler so that I could bring down this arm, because this arm was too tight and wouldn't leave me enough leeway. So I brought this off of here, turned it all the way to the right hand side of the car, so this side as far as you can be, and then you drop it down, put this into here, and you have just enough leeway to get by, like that. That's how you get it out, and that's how you get it in. It has to be all the way to that way on this side, and then you can't do it without taking this down, because there's no room that hits the bump stop on that side, on the passenger side. You know, be sure you're dropping the tie rod enough so it pulls it back in so it can push it over as much as needed to get the leeway. And then in which case, you're ready to go. You can put it back up in place and there you are. So that makes for an easy installation just by pulling those other two things down. That's only on an Eagle. All the rest of the cars, it comes off very easy. One other thing I did here was clean up these threads nice and wire wheeled before putting it back together, so there's nothing to fight with. Check to see how much travel I had up. Just to make sure it's sandwiched as much. I have the impact turned up, but the air pressure is low, so it doesn't tighten too much. I'll get it home. Well, that's in there now. Just a few bolts to put this brace bar back up in place as well. I'm going to wire wheel these bolts and I'm going to put grease on them as you've watched us do in other videos, because since Stefan will be driving this car for the next bunch of years in the south, we want to be sure that we've got plenty of grease in the threads so everything comes apart. Very nice fit that one I was able to get, so that's nice to see. Sometimes things have to be modified to work, but that was a direct bolt on.
Well, evening there, guys. It's Friday night. Just got back in the shop now. Come back out here for a couple hours and grab an air hose, since I got the shock to myself, and blow all the dust out of the suspension and the frame rails of this car. So that way no one else has to deal with the dust, and it'll be settled by tomorrow, so we can really drop the hammer and get this thing, get some of the brakes done on this car and suspension stuff done on this car and all that stuff. And I can go back on the floor and we can work on top side. So I'll get to it. As you guys saw, there was a little bit of dust in this the frame rails in this Eagle. Anyway, probably should put a mask on thinking back about it, but kind of late now. As you can tell, a little bit on the ground here, so we probably lost about 100 pounds of dirt, so there's that. Be a little better on gas that way. But we'll see what I was actually blowing on to get all this dirt out of this car. As I pulled the plugs out of here, so blowing in these holes here, these holes here. I blew in the troughs up here, as most of the Eagle guys know about. These always have a problem, so. And then I was blowing through the holes right here. Basically any holes I could find on the frame rails themselves. All the ones in the bottom here, all these ones, the seat ones. I'm gonna have to drop these down and do behind these. I'm gonna pull these bolts out actually, because my rockers are all good yet. And get the stuff behind those. I wasn't too worried about those, as you guys saw in the video. So blowing in the holes in the torque box right here, which was a blow kind of out the back side where that spring hole is right there. You can see from that's this side. We'll blow it out on the back side of this right here. So those holes, the holes where the sway bar goes, I pulled the plugs out of the back of the rocker. These won't blow out the other end unless you pull it loose in the front where the inner fender liner is. So I did not do that yet, so I'll probably do that as well. Get these. These are actually pretty empty, surprisingly. Usually they're not North Dakota cars. So my black AMX with the flames, that was out of Central North Dakota as well. And the rockers in that car were full right to the top. Solid brick of North Dakota dust. And I think my dad spent like probably 6 hours on it when he first got the car, around the time I was born. And then when I put the car together when I was 15, I spent 3.5 hours with the pressure washer blowing back and forth in them rockers. And they're still not empty. The car's done. I use it. It's still got about 2 inches in there because it just would not come out of there. It's like solid brick, like rock, just stuck in there. So it definitely packs when it gets in there, and it's pretty fine dust, as you guys saw, and it just makes cement out of it. So, but anyway, blowing out back here, and then Danny pulled that mouse house out of there. That's the biggest thing too, is also putting some wire inside there too, and breaking some of the pieces up. And pulling out like mouse houses and stuff. The bumper, obviously up in your pocket right here. This has still got more chunks of dust. That kind of packed powder just like this. Just turns into stuff like that. So there's a lot of places for that to kind of stack up. This car is an extreme case because it saw a lot of gravel roads is the problem in the springtime. Because it's got mud everywhere. That's kind of its problem, but it's kind of a wrap for today. As you guys can tell, I'm very dirty. I'm going to take a shower, and then I'll hit her hard tomorrow. So we'll get the floor all swept up and clean after making copious amounts of dust yesterday. Got everything all cleaned up now, so now it's about ready time. We're going to get the work on the front end right here, get our short rod bushings installed, pitman arm, get all of our brand new calipers put on, our new hoses, new pads, get all this stuff for us to like cleaned up, and ready to go up here in the front. So anyway, we'll get to it. Well, as you guys saw, we have put a couple pieces on yet, but I want to show you kind of all the boxes, kind of what we're actually using for parts on this car. Like we got a pitman arm on and the sway bar end links, but here's all the part numbers, kind of what we're using and stuff. And I'll probably make this build, this car, probably a couple part series of videos, probably like 2 to 3 parts, depending what's going on. Just because I'll have the underside of the car, in the interior I'm going to work on, and then under the hood. So I'll kind of split those up to some extent. We'll see how it all works, but there'll be more videos than just this one, put it that way. Here's some of the stuff we got anyway. So here's kind of brake shoes we're using. I'll probably add the last video. I'll write down some part numbers for you guys. Just kind of what works for us, what we've been able to get anyway. So it'll be your brake shoes for the back, wheel cylinders for the left and the right. They are basically per side. You can use the same number for one side. You have to fix the line though. This makes it so these two fit the current lines. Just because how wheel cylinders are on these cars, they have a direction that you can see they're pointed backwards or backwards. So if you use, say, 2 driver's side ones, one will be pointed backwards and one will be pointed forwards, you'll have to make a new line. Which, if your lines are rotted out and you already are making new ones, it's not a huge deal. But if you have nice original ones like me, it's handy just to use the lines as is. Anyway, these are the silver end links we're using for Eagle. This is the number on these. Which these are the ones, the blue bushings you got right here, which work very well. I put a couple of these on. Eagle seem to rot these out more than those other cars for some reason. Like I've had 3 of our Eagles have had issues with these when I've got them. And I'm guessing it's just because of the tall collar on them. They just end up getting a little bit of stuff in there over time and then being rusty. Then they work for a long time. One day you'll It'll feel a little looser than normal with some body roll. It's just because the collar broke and now it's not having much tension in the body anymore. So we also got air shocks. This is the part number for those. The MA 700s, they fit on an Eagle. This is a Monroe number. Front shocks for an Eagle, these are the ones we're using. Are these actually Eagle shocks? These are the Concord shocks that fit an Eagle.
I believe those are the Eagle ones, actually.
Okay.
I have ones that are Concord ones, and you can use Concord ones in there. Concord ones have more travel because the Concord front coil spring is longer. All other AMC cars have a longer front coil than the Eagle.
Okay.
The Eagle has a half-inch shorter stroke. Shock.
Yeah, I think so. I remember right as well myself.
Use
So.
the longer shock.
Yeah, which we have used the longer shocks in many of our Eagles too. They work just fine, not even close to an issue. It's just, you know, it's got the half-inch longer stroke. The only thing I do see it does actually, put them up on the hoist, these A-frames are a little closer to the body. That's legitimately all it does. Otherwise, I mean, there's plenty of up travel when you have 4 inches of up travel right here on a stock shock. And just the Concord one or your Hornet one or Gremlin one, or the shocks are all the same to everything, or just a half-inch shorter body. That's literally all it is.
And it is a short, and I also note because of this here where you have the extra room, if you're off-roading with these, the Concord shocks are better because it allows that A-frame to travel down further, keeping your tire in contact
A
with the road.
little more down travel, yep. In that case. And then we got short rod bushings right here. It's K3090s calipers. The left and the right calipers, 82 and ups. And we got our brake hoses for the front. The back one's good, so I'm leaving that one alone. And these have the bracket for an Eagle and the block and that kind of stuff. And this is the pitman arm we installed. That's part of the precision part number for it, and it's going to be a nice direct bolt-on, so which is really a nice thing. We had a lot of low mileage ones we usually use, but we bought a new one for this car. This car's also getting a block heater since we are in Minnesota, so this is the ones we usually use. They've been pretty good luck with it. Pretty good luck for us. For an AMC 6-cylinder, there's the number right there. And there's also all the belts we need to make this car work as well. So I do have my new radio over there, but that's not anything that needs to be a big deal. So I'm going to put a newer radio in here and also 4 new speakers. Just some, a little better tunes in there anyway. Just, you know, nice to have Bluetooth. It's kind of handy. And we are going to reuse the pads because they're nice and thick yet. They are riveted on, and luckily they're actually not that old, so I'll clean them up a little bit and reuse those. But anyway, I'm going to kind of make a list of what all this stuff kind of costed, and probably the last video I do, kind of the overall cost of getting this car going from being parked, kind of what all these parts costed and where that bill kind of looks like for getting we'll say, an AMC that's been parked for a while back on the road generally. And there's obviously, depending on the car, there'll be more costs of different parts you might have to buy, but this is a general of the brake system, we'll say, and general suspension parts you'll usually have to buy. Ball joints is another thing most of the time. This car seems to have good ones so far, so we're going to leave those alone and see where that goes. But anyway, I'll actually stop talking over here and get something done instead of just taping. So I'll get the GoPro going. I'm going to go back there and tear apart the back shocks and the rear brakes as well, get the wheel cylinders changed and the shoes, and then we'll move on from there. We're going to start out with the back brakes here, since I know a lot of people have issues with drum brakes. Not the easiest to do. My dad's working on the fronts right now. Most people know about calipers and pads. It's always the drums and the shoes are always kind of the big bugger. So one of the biggest things is the right tools. So actually having your right tool like this as your hook on the inside, like this. This is actually a drum brake tool, as well as your cup tool for pulling your cup springs off for holding the shoes on. So the main thing is, this tool is a major help in getting everything to work out properly. Basically take it right here, take this little hook right here, and you push it behind your spring, like that, pop your spring off. Just like that. And the same thing is for this side as well. First pretty easy is flipping this side on right here. Same thing for the other side. I do see this spring is a little bit bent, so I bent it downhill, which is pretty common. So spreading it out a little bit with the different pliers in here when I do that with, and then taking this cup, putting it in the same way, and then popping it off, just like that. Those are the main 2 springs on top. Obviously, you got your e-brake cable down here. Come off your bottom stuff. 2 springs. I like to lay them out on the bench over here, which side they're going on, so this is the passenger side. It just makes it easy to know where everything's going in that case when you do it like that. gotta spread them out. In this case, they'll kind of pop apart. Pull out your e-brake piece we're not using anymore. And pull your little pieces out of the inside of the wheel cylinder. And your plate won't always come off that easy, but it did in this case. And usually you can kind of pop those up like that. A little less tension then. Your bottom spring's usually always the bugger. And kind of get your self-adjuster out of the hole here. First, which this one's in pretty good shape. You can see it turns, cup comes off with your shim in the bottom right like that too, which allows it to kind of twist around nicely and smoothly when you're driving and you're backing up. And in this case, this will pop up there and get out of your way. You can get your springs out. Your other piece here for your self-adjuster. And now we're on the spot for the shoes. So then these kind of have a little notch in them. I think I'll zoom in on the camera for this shot here in a second. You can kind of see the little T-piece right here. Take that, hold your nail from the back side with your hand, spin this until it lines up, and it'll pop right off just like that. You can see a little T right there where it's got to be offset 45 degrees. 90 degrees, sorry. And the nail will come out of the back side, shoe will fall like that, nails are right here. Hang off your e-brake and then you can kind of fish it out of there. Fish the piece off like this. And that's your e-brake lever right here, which we're going to pull off this horseshoe. Get rid of this completely in this case. Since I'm not going to run e-brakes in this car because they don't last much more than a season in Minnesota and they're rusted up, even when cars were new. More or less how pulling apart goes. So pretty simple stuff, truthfully. With the right tools. Without the right tools, it can be a major pain and a very hard job to do. I will say that. So, but anyway, what we're doing here now, we'll clean some of this up. I'm going to pull out the wheel cylinder here in a second. I'll show you guys how I do that too. So, this is a perfect example of why I'm changing all this stuff. So you pull this boot off right here, you can see that's probably not going to function. So usually the car's even parked for, this car's been parked since say 2009, and even in this case, I mean, just not a little bit of sitting. I mean, that has been, you know, basically 15 years, I'd say approximately. But still, it's just how stuff goes. So when something's sitting even longer than that, since the 90s, I mean, this is how this stuff's gonna look in here. It's not gonna be functional, no matter what you do. It's gonna be rusty and crusty and not really something you can even use and safely drive. So that's just something to think about when you're buying a car. You think it hasn't been sitting that long since the 2000. It's been sitting 25 years at this point. This 2025 right now. So anyway, we got a lot of the dust cleaned out of here, some of it. I'm not gonna go nuts. I'm not gonna hit it with air hose, otherwise the brake dust is all in the air and nobody wants that. And to get the brake cables out of here, you just gotta push these little tines in and then pull out the back. And then I'll cut them off right actually at the cable block, kind of right there as they go across. That way they're totally off the rear end, totally out of my life. And I'll get rid of that piece right there too as well. So all your brake is totally done on this car is what I'm planning to do. Anyway, we'll move back to this side for a second. I'll set the GoPro up here in a few. As you can see, this is all kind of crusty. I was pricing WD-40 on this stuff the other day to get it kind of a little bit loose. So we're going to pull these two bolts out and then pull this line loose first though. Make sure you always pull the line loose first. It's very hard to hold everything at one time. So the line is what you want to get loose first. The best bet to do is you want to tighten this first to go a little bit, you know, righty-tighty obviously. Tighten this a little bit, then back it up. You have a better chance of these coming off without stripping the nut off of the brake line end and having to put a new end on it. And then most likely, since you only have them in this much wired brake line to use from your T-block right here to over to right here, you gotta put a new line on and start fresh with that, which isn't a terrible thing. We can make brake lines pretty fast here. We have the right tools for it. But if you don't have the right tools for it, it's very advantageous to not have to make a new one if you don't have the means to, put it that way. So first things first, obviously you can grab your line wrench. Make sure you clean it off nice like that. Make sure it's actually in a pretty good spot where you know it'll actually hook on it properly. This one's a little stubborn, as you can tell. Been together for a while. we're just gonna try to round off. I mean, I can already tell that as it is. It's not very happy about coming apart. So, and it's already rusty and kind of loose. So I might be making brake lines by the looks of things, because we're gonna have it probably break off on us here in a second. Yep. And there's the round end we weren't looking to have. Well, since we got the issues we got, looks like we're gonna have to pull that. Maybe get a vice grip on it or something, see if it comes off. But I still got to put a new end on the line regardless in this case. So I'm probably just gonna chop the line off and then basically pull the wheel cylinder out. I'll put a socket on this, break this out of here, see if the end's worth using. If it's not, I'll put a new end on it and we'll just make new brake lines quick. So which isn't too bad to do. I got right tools for it. So.
Well, I'm spending a few more minutes looking at the driver's side brakes.
I got all this side all pulled apart. This side looks about the same as the other side does, with the crusty wheel cylinders, much the same. And anyway, so it looks like this lines are the same, so we are going to make brand new brake lines for everything. So I'm just going to bust these things off the rear end here, get rid of all the holders, and pull all the brake lines off all the way down to the hose right there. And then also, since I'm at it, as you can see, I got these out of the e-brake cables out of the vacuum plates, and you can tell just these little tines right there. You just push them in, get them out of the holes right here. So pretty simple setup. And then I'll just pull them off right there at the bracketry, get rid of all this out of the way, so it's just out of the way completely. I'll probably just slice it off right here and get rid of all this junk out of my life. So, and while I'm out of here too, since the shocks are kind of in the way, I'm gonna bust the shocks off, get rid of this bolts off, get the plates off up there, so I can get them cleaned up for the air shocks too. So I'm just gonna set the camera up in time-lapse mode, get some of this stuff pounded out, and I'll add commentary where needed.
End out the video here. I apologize for leaving you guys hanging on where I'm at progress wise. I just figured it's better off to have a little more time to actually explain how to install, make new brake lines, install all the brake shoes, all the hardware the proper way instead of rushing through it. Since I'm kind of already at about, you know, up there in the minutes wise. You guys have been watching for a while. I don't want to lose you. Having you sitting down too long watching a really long video. So I'm gonna add many parts to this series, obviously, as I talked about before. So this the rear brake lines and the shoes and stuff, and the front brakes, and then the new parts we're installing will be coming to you soon in part 2.
Well, thank you guys for watching the channel. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button there too, and we'll catch you all later.